This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch for Wednesday, May 1st. I'm Mark Martin. Today, uprising in Venezuela as socialist leader Nicolas Maduro holds firm despite public opposition taking to the streets against him. Congressional Democrats introduced their Medicare for All health care plan they say would cover everyone, but critics call it insanely expensive. Israel's ambassador to the UN points to the Bible as one of the key pillars for Israel's claim to its land. And we'll take you to a Christian college in Ohio where students are making a pro-life statement with their clothes. Those stories and more on today's NewsWatch. Venezuela's dictator Nicolas Maduro appears still in control of the South American nation following a day of violent skirmishes between his supporters and opposition forces. Still, the country's leading politician trying to unseat him from power is urging his countrymen to keep up the pressure. In a video posted on social media, opposition leader Juan Guaido urged Venezuelans to take to the streets again today and called on the country's powerful military to join the people seeking change. Guaido claims the military, seen as a linchpin to whether the embattled president remains in power, is deserting his government.
We now know for sure that the claim that the regime has control of the armed forces is false. We know that Maduro does not have the support nor the respect of the armed forces, much less that of the people of Venezuela.
CBN senior international correspondent George Thomas is following this story for us. Welcome, George.
Thank you, sir.
A key figure in Maduro's government has reportedly come out against him. Who is he and what's he saying?
Yeah, so here are the details. The head of Venezuela's secret police released a letter overnight breaking ranks with his boss, Nicolas Maduro. Manuel Ricardo Christopher Figuera, who heads up the Bolivarian intelligence service, said it was time to rebuild the country and, quote, seek new ways of doing politics. Figuera, by the way, becomes the highest-ranking member of the regime so far to openly criticize President Maduro. Mark?
And, George, the White House is putting pressure on other key members of Maduro's government, right? Talk about that.
They absolutely are. National Security Advisor John Bolton says he has commitments from Venezuela's Minister of Defense, the country's Supreme Court Chief Justice, and the commander of the Presidential Guard to support opposition Juan Guaido. Bolton is urging all three men to make good on their promises. That hasn't happened yet. In fact, the defense minister was sitting next to President Maduro last night during his television address as he vowed to prosecute those trying to overthrow the government.
And, George, there was some dramatic news from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo about reports that Maduro was ready to give up power. What's that all about?
Yeah, it really was rather dramatic. Mr. Pompeo claimed Maduro was about to relinquish power and even had a plane on the tarmac ready to leave the country for Cuba, but was urged by Russia to stay. Here's what he told folks attending a gala and award ceremony in D.C. last night.
We literally had Nicolas Maduro getting prepared to get on this airplane and head out of the country before he stopped really at the direction of the Russians.
Pompeo added, quote, "There will be another sunrise tomorrow. The opportunity for Venezuelan democracy, I am confident, will remain."
All right, George, our senior international correspondent. Thanks for the update, sir.
You're welcome.
In other news, Attorney General William Barr will go to Capitol Hill today for what could be an explosive hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee. It will be the first time Barr has faced lawmakers' questions since releasing special counsel Robert Mueller's report. A major part of the hearing will likely focus on a Washington Post story that Mueller told Barr he was frustrated with how the conclusions of his investigation were being portrayed. The Post story and the Justice Department said Mueller made it clear that he did not believe Barr's summary of Mueller's report was inaccurate or misleading. Mueller told Barr the media had misinterpreted the probe's conclusions on obstruction of justice, but the story has increased concerns among Democrats about Barr's handling of the Mueller report. Health care is still a leading issue on the campaign trail, and now it's getting attention in the halls of Congress. In a historic move, the House Rules Committee is looking at a bill that would take health care away from private companies and hand it over to Uncle Sam. Amber Strong brings us that story from Washington.
While a number of the 2020 presidential candidates have jumped aboard the Medicare for All train, House Republicans and even a few Democrats are still at the station, waiting on another ride.
Medicare for all really means Medicare for none. Indeed, this bill is a socialist proposal.
So my Republican friends want to use a lot of scary words like government takeover and socialism today. Have at it.
That bill from Congresswomen Debbie Dingell and Pramila Jayapal includes a quick transition to a single-payer government-ran system.
We cover everyone. Everyone. Not just children, not just seniors, not just those who are healthy, not just those who have to get below a poverty threshold.
Witnesses during Tuesday's hearing, including patients and providers, covered the pros and cons of government health care.
But never before have I given a speech without my natural voice. ALS now means paying out of pocket for almost 24-hour home care. This costs us $9,000 every month. We are cobbling together the money from friends and family and supporters all over the country. But this is an absurd way to run a healthcare system.
We do know from the experience of other countries that global budgets and centrally determined benefit structures lead to rationing, waiting lines, and lower quality of care.
While many on both sides of the aisle agree the system is broken, experts contend the cost would be astronomical.
This is not an analysis of whether Medicare for all is good policy or bad policy. It's purely a cost projection. Total federal spending on Medicare for all over the first 10 years would be somewhere between $54.6 trillion and $60.7 trillion.
Since the midterms, health care consistently remains a top priority for voters.
Health care, yes.
Why is that?
Because I'm a retiree, and I'm very concerned about my health care.
While presidential candidates are split on how to tackle the issue, Senator Bernie Sanders backs a similar plan eliminating private insurance altogether. On Monday, former VP Joe Biden took a more modest approach.
Whether you're covering it through your employer or on your own or not, you all should have a choice to be able to buy into a public option plan for Medicare. Your choice.
And that's the key difference, because Biden and Sanders consistently top the polls among 2020 Democratic contenders. Time will tell which healthcare option drives the greater turnout. Amber Strong, CBN News in Washington.
A debate over the future of our economy, capitalism versus socialism, is shaping up to be a major issue in next year's election. And now one film hitting theaters is taking on that debate, a movie that stars America's free market system. John Jessup has that story.
Socialism is apparently becoming mainstream.
Socialism. It's one of the buzzwords in the 2020 elections. And everyone from the president.
America will never be a socialist country.
To those seeking the White House,
health care is a human right,
are weighing in. Conservative Arthur Brooks, however, wants people to take a fresh look at its counterpart.
Democratic capitalism has pulled billions of people out of poverty. It is the greatest humanitarian achievement in the history of mankind. 2 billion people have been pulled out of starvation level poverty.
In his documentary, The Pursuit, Brooks, president of the American Enterprise Institute, travels the globe, meeting people from Denmark, Kentucky coal country, and even the Dalai Lama. His goal? Finding ways to help people escape from poverty and pursue happiness.
We're in this culture war about capitalism. Should we have socialism or capitalism? And well, that's the wrong argument. That's the wrong discussion. We should be talking about, am I my brother's keeper or am I not my brother's keeper? And if I am, what's the best way to do it? And that's what this film is about.
The 54-year-old Brooks says during his lifetime, the world has witnessed an 80% decline in poverty. He credits capitalism, calling it a miraculous tool for good when based on morality rather than greed.
The point of capitalism is not for me and you to get richer. It's to share the abundance and earn success, the equal dignity of life with other people. And here's the great irony of our times. People in the wealthiest countries in the world are increasingly turning against the very system that's lifted us out of poverty.
He says while people in democratic socialist economies like Denmark appear happy, he discovered what separates Americans is a sense of joy that comes from our self-made will to flourish.
I don't claim to have all the answers.
The film plunges much deeper than simply comparing economic systems. It imagines a better world by exploring ideas like opportunity, prosperity, compassion, and dignity for everyone. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
The Alabama House voted Tuesday to outlaw almost all abortions in the state. The legislation would make it a felony to perform an abortion at any stage in a woman's pregnancy. The Republican-dominated House of Representatives passed the proposal after an emotional debate with Democrats who walked out of the chamber. Republicans had voted down Democrats' attempt to amend the bill to add an exemption for rape and incest. The bill does include an exemption for situations in which there is a serious risk to the mother's health. It now moves to the Alabama Senate. As President Trump prepares to release his Israeli-Palestinian peace plan probably next month, the United Nations Security Council was briefed on the situation of the Palestinians. Israel was blasted for expanding Jewish communities in biblical Judea and Samaria. But Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon said that Israel's claim to the land is based on 4 pillars, including the Bible.
From the book of Genesis to the Jewish exodus from Egypt, to receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai, and to the realization of God's covenant in the Holy Land of Israel, the Bible paints a consistent picture. The entire history of our people and our connection to Eretz Israel begins right here.
Danon said the other 3 pillars for Israel's claim to the land are history, international law, and the pursuit of peace and security. Coming up, how some students at one Christian college in Ohio are using their clothes to make a pro-life statement.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I Wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Students at an Ohio Christian college hope to send a pro-life message with a new fashion trend, combining baby clothes with their own. As Paul Strand reports, it produces a startling visual statement of the human cost of abortion.
If you really know what you stand for, you could say or write a statement of beliefs. And if you like to dress up well, you like to make a fashion statement. What if you could do both statements at once and communicate your feelings about abortion when you get all dressed up? That's what's happening with some young ladies here at Ohio's Cedarville University, and they hope what they're doing spreads.
We hope that high school girls, even college women such as ourselves, will at their formal this year or any other opportunity they have to be seen with a onesie or other baby clothes pinned to them, to connect the humanity of the child that belongs inside of that clothing to their humanity.
They call this pro-life innovation a message dress.
When you see baby clothes, you think of sweet things and lovely things, and the children who should be wearing them.
This is the first anybody's ever thought of doing something like this.
It simply takes adding baby clothes to a dress.
The pro-life movement didn't have such a creative idea in place before that people can come around and take part in and join in with themselves. And I want all pro-life advocates who are young women to feel comfortable that they can take part in this initiative.
Stephanie Schlabach was a psychology major, and Anna Edwards is now. Both have studied the mental wounds many women carry from an abortion.
They have nightmares, they get very depressed.
And for women who even are okay with abortions, they still have to accept that they had something that they then lost, no matter what they believe that something is. Of course, we believe that it's their children and thus you shouldn't kill them. But so it's extremely harmful for women.
They have suicidal thoughts and behaviors in some cases, especially if it's a late-term abortion, because that is, they've started developing that bond, even without knowing it, with their child. And when they just force that child out of them, and it's no longer living, that does cause a lot of psychological damage.
The horror of abortion is so often unseen. Well, these folks with their message dresses are hoping to make it a little more visible. Those that are being killed and what's really being lost through abortion. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Cedarville University.
Still ahead, one Muslim nation actually has a good relationship with Israel. We'll look at that country and how that relationship might serve as a model for other Islamic countries.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
The Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I wills of God, the latest teaching from Pat Robertson.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
The CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Thanks for staying with us. At a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise, one Muslim nation is getting attention for its positive relationship with Israel and the Jewish people. That country is Azerbaijan. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell explores if it could be a model for the rest of the Muslim world.
Sitting at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, Azerbaijan is strategically positioned close to Iran, Turkey, and Russia, with a major asset to the east. This is Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. Located on the Caspian Sea, the country is one of the world's major oil producers, and Baku is the country's economic center.
Azerbaijan is a source for about anything between quarter to 1/3 of the oil import to Israel, and this flow of high-quality oil is very important for the state of Israel.
Oil isn't the only thing flowing between the two countries. According to Azeri President Ilham Aliyev, Azerbaijan has purchased nearly $5 billion worth of weapon systems from Israel.
And this is important for Azerbaijan to maintain its defense and its existence in a very challenging strategic environment.
CBN News talked with Israel's ambassador to Azerbaijan, Dan Stav, about his efforts to diversify the economic cooperation between the two countries.
Israel can be of help, especially in the development of the agricultural sector, which is a top priority of the government. And we have a cooperation with medical institutes and medical domain in general, education, IT.
And the relationship goes beyond economy and defense.
To be an ambassador to Azerbaijan is a special privilege, as the relations between the Jewish people and the Azeri people preceded the relations between the two states. And the mountainous Jewish community, according to some historical account, preceded Islam, Christianity. The first Jews, according to some myth, arrived to Azerbaijan after the destruction of the northern kingdom of Israel in 722 before Christ.
The vast majority of the population is Shiite Muslim, but it's a secular country. For generations, the Jewish community has felt at home. And since its independence, Azerbaijan has had good relations with Israel.
For centuries, Jews and Azerbaijanis lived in peace, friendship, and continue to live here in Azerbaijan. And the Jewish community of Azerbaijan is a very active part of our society. They contribute a lot to the development of modern Azerbaijan.
The attitude that you've shown to Jewish people in Azerbaijan over the years. The world sees so much intolerance, so much darkness, and here is an example of what relations can be and should be between Muslims and Jews everywhere.
Some 70,000 Azeri Jews have immigrated to Israel, and Netanyahu sees them as a bridge between the two countries. Many regularly visit their homeland.
You don't do it if you come from an environment that infested with anti-Semitism.
The two countries have had diplomatic relations since 1992, after the fall of the Soviet Union.
We don't consider Muslims as our enemies, and Azerbaijan is a proof that this is not the case.
In sharp contrast, Iran is the other Shiite Muslim majority country in the neighborhood.
There are such starking differences between the two countries. And Azerbaijan showed that it's not a matter of Shia.
Despite years of animosity, Stav said there's a growing understanding among Muslim states in the region.
Israel is not an enemy, and that cooperation can be very beneficial.
Their hope is that this example of Muslim and Jew standing together will serve as an anchor of stability in the Middle East. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, a look at our conversation with Kelly Clarkson, who's very busy these days. Not only is she a judge on NBC's The Voice, she's also a voice in a new animated film and will be in a new daytime talk show as well. We're going to have that when we come back.
As the world watches from the outside,
it's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline, Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together.
At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he has, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.